honor of 50 Shades of Grey coming out this weekend, and on Valentine's Day weekend no less, I am going to run down 50 things that I consider wrong with the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. Please note that I'm focusing on things that happen solely within the book, as I have not watched the movie and don't really intend to in the theaters. Please note that I am listing these items in no particular order, although there are things that I disliked more than others in the book. Here we go! 50 Shades of Grey started off as a fan fiction based off of the baseless Twilight and still manages to be more terrible than its source material. Anna is written even more daft and dull than Bella was, and is completely unrelatable as a 22-year-old college student. She's never had sex. She's never had a drink. She doesn't own a computer. I mean, maybe those things separately you would believe, but together, is she supposed to be of our Earth? Christian Grey is written more controlling and creepy and confusing than Edward. He's also a billionaire at 27, and who's supposed to believe that just in general? I mean, maybe if he was a millionaire in the tech sector, sure, but he's a billionaire running who even knows, because he's the CEO of a company that they never really established what he does, and he's never really at work because he spends most of his time running after Anna, spending large gifts on her, and hiking with his brother. All the characters in the book suffer from convenient schizophrenia. What do I mean by that? Well, their personalities change based on whatever is needed by the plot. For example, Anna's best friend Kate is completely excited for Anna and just enthralled with the idea that Christian Grey is pursuing her and is completely ready to sex her up for her big dates, while in the same breath and on the same page saying, you know, Anna, you should stay away from Christian, he's dangerous. It's like, what? And don't even get me started on the main characters, because Anna is spineless and undecisive until the plot calls for her to be sassy. And then Christian is just cold and unfeeling until the plot calls for him to be vulnerable. It's a poor depiction of the already misunderstood BDSM lifestyle. And because it's such a poor depiction, every time they play together, it just looks like he's abusing her. And it looks like he's abusing her because Anna is such a spineless, undecisive, and permanently frightened creature of a girl. So basically, every time Christian so much as commands her to eat, you're forced to believe that he is, well, controlling her. I mean, just really think about it for a second. And I'm not about to say I'm an expert or have had an experience myself. But in a dom and sub relationship, the sub is the braver of the party. They're the ones that, one, have the confidence to know that this is what they want sexually out of their partner. Two, have the bravery to give themselves up to another person so that they may be satisfied in that way. And three, have the faith to know that their partner is going to take care of them and meet their needs. Does any of that sound like Anna to you? Which begs the question, what the heck does Christian see in Anna anyway? I mean, at least in the Twilight universe, Edward never said, oh my god, I'm so blown away by Bella's outstanding personality or her crazy good looks. Negative. It's because she had delicious smelling blood and he's a predator. That made sense. You're looking at this now with Christian and Anna, and he's supposed to be this mega millionaire who I'm sure has lots of docile and tame wannabe submissives just falling at his beck and call, and instead he's interested in this whelp of a girl? Christian, of course, is just as problematic as Anna, where his push and pull with her, like I want you but I can't have you, but I'm going to chase you but you can't have me back, is just making him an emotional manipulator. And he's a straight up stalker, as admitted by Anna herself. Like, she refers to him repeatedly as a stalker. Of course, Anna forgives this behavior because it's Christian, which is wrong and delves into an even deeper problem with stalkers and creepers altogether. It's like a stalker and a creeper is only such if you're not attracted to them. As soon as you're attracted to them, they're not a stalker and a creeper anymore, right? Wrong. Stalking is stalking. Creeping is creeping. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, attractive or not. The woman who wrote this is from the UK, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that, of course, except when you're trying to write a story that you're setting in America about Americans, and then you have them using all these little Britishisms that just seem weird and out of place. Well, I don't typically throw my toys out of the pram. What the heck does that even mean? And since this started off as a fan fiction, instead of being, I don't know, creative and setting the story in her native UK, she decided to stick exactly to the Seattle Pacific Northwest area just so that she could be certain to keep that Twilight element in it. And speaking of just setting it in the UK, it's pretty obvious that the writer has no idea what the Pacific Northwest looks like and is just spitting out locations that came from her Google Maps generator. Actually, it's pretty obvious that no research went into this, not even at the fan fiction stage, and yet she gets to profit millions off of it. Might as well touch on how poorly the book is written overall. It is riddled with typos, the sentence structure itself is pretty juvenile, and then there's an obvious lengthening scheme going on there where there are pages and pages of the main characters just sending emails back and forth to each other. Also, the emails. The asinine and overwhelming repetition. I mean, if it's not Anna's catchphrases, oh my, holy crap, double crap, triple crap. It's their general movements. And just the prose overall. For example, there's like a running tidbit that the author likes to use where they describe things as 50 shades of. So like, he's 50 shades of messed up, or I'm 50 shades of embarrassed. And the original fan fiction was not called 50 Shades of Grey. So it makes me terrified to think that either the author thought at first that this was a good way to describe something, or that the author decided to add this in post-edit to be funny or clever. Wait, did I just say post-edit? Huh. What edit? On the sexy side of things, might as well address how unsexy this book is. I mean, the BDSM is kink at best. Grey never does anything to warrant anybody's shock and awe that the public would make you believe. And the sex scenes themselves are written so plain and dull and actually kind of laugh out loud funny. I mean, for example, Anna refers to her vagina as there and down there, like he touched me there. Is she 12? There's actually this particular sex scene that has always stuck with me where Christian reaches into Anna's vagina and removes her tampon before they have sex. Let's have sex. I'm on my period. No matter. Now you're ready to go. Is that supposed to be sexy? Truly, I'm of the opinion that the only people who could have thought this book was sexy are the undersexed or the not sexed at all. And if that's the case, just go out and have some, please. The fact that Anna bursts into unrelenting orgasms when Christian so much as breathed on her, except only at his command. Never mind, she's a virgin who has also never even touched herself, so she has no idea what she likes. And at first I was gonna kind of let this slide because I was like, hey, maybe she's just a really sensitive girl. But then you have the fact that she can only come when Christian says so. Also, Christian talks this big game about signing a BDSM contract, but they never actually signed the contract in any of the scenes that they play out later on in the book. So are you trying to tell me that there was no actual consent to the things that was happening? And why isn't verbal consent enough? And I mean, I don't know if that's another thing where like I don't know anything about BDSM culture, but I would think saying yes and saying no is a lot better than signing some contract that could change at any time. Overall, there was just better Twilight BDSM fanfiction out there. And then there was better Twilight fanfiction out there. And then there was just better fanfiction out there overall. Like, if I had known all it would have taken is to slap some handcuffs on my fanfictions, I could have been a millionaire by now because it clearly didn't take talent or writing skill. And it's a crying shame that the intrigue around this really silly book allowed it to outsell Harry Potter in the UK. Harry Potter, which has an imaginative universe and creative characters and an interesting story, over this unsexy sex book. It's a crying shame that the intrigue around this book allowed it to be such a big success that now it's getting movie rights and everyone's gonna make even more money off of this tripe. The story is plotless, and usually that's supposed to be okay for these kind of erotic novels because you're not here for plot, you're here for sex scenes, except the sex scenes aren't even interesting, so then what? The whole trilogy is plotless. It's just more of those unsexy sex scenes strung together by what should be a story but is actually just random words. 50 Shades of Grey to me is just not good, and now you know why. Do I think that the movie looks a little bit better? Maybe. I do think it's very well cast because Dakota Johnson just looks like generic average pretty girl A, and Jamie Dornan just looks like generic handsome pretty boy B, which is exactly what I think of when I think of Anna and Christian, so good on them for that. And of course Beyonce's redo of Crazy in Love is crazy good, and I'm going to buy it as soon as it drops on Valentine's Day. But overall I just don't get it. I just don't get it.